Grandma, the knitting store is across the street. Derek's mocking voice cut through Elite Arms gun shop like a blade, making every customer turn to stare. Vera Mitchell, 52, with silver-streaked hair and trembling hands, stood in the doorway wearing a faded denim jacket. The tremor in her right hand was particularly noticeable as she adjusted her canvas bag. "Look at those shaking hands," a customer in tactical gear laughed. "Can't even hold a coffee steady, let alone a rifle." Someone called her grandkids. "She's lost," another man chimed in. The shop erupted in laughter. 20 witnesses focused on the older woman who seemed so out of place among the gleaming weapons. Derek, the 25-year-old sales associate with slick-back hair, stepped forward. "Ma'am, seriously, you're in the wrong place. This is for serious shooters. Not." He gestured dismissively at her trembling hands. Vera's gray eyes remained steady. She took 3 steps forward, her worn sneakers silent on the polished floor. Soon, every person in this room would be desperate to take back their words. Derek leaned against the glass counter. "Parkinson's acting up, Grandma. Maybe you should head back to the nursing home before you hurt yourself." The crowd laughed. Young men in tactical vests high-fived, phones already out, recording what they assumed would be viral content. Vera set her canvas bag down gently. She straightened, and her feet shifted into a stance that made Jake, a veteran near the ammunition display, narrow his eyes. Feet shoulder-width apart, weight distributed evenly. The kind of stance you didn't learn at a weekend shooting class. Barrett M82, a 1 CQB variant, Vera said, her voice cutting through the laughter. The one with modified buffer spring. The shop fell silent. The model she named wasn't on any public catalog. Classified military contracts only. Derek's smirk wavered. "Oh, so Grandma's been watching YouTube videos." "Goo." A woman in a Gucci blazer clicked forward. "Honey, these weapons are for people who actually know how to use them. Why don't you try the pawn shop down the street?" Vera's trembling hand reached for her glasses case. The movement drew attention to a faint scar on her wrist. A perfect circle, old and faded. Jake stepped closer. He'd seen scars like that before. Bullet wounds. Serial number should start with CQB 47, Vera continued. Barrel length 20 inches, not the standard 29. Titanium firing pin, not steel. Magazine modified to hold 7 rounds instead of 10 for weight distribution. Robert Shun, the store manager, a former Marine in his 40s, had just emerged from the back office. He froze. Those weren't details you could find online. Those were classified specifications. "Security," Derek called. "We need to escort this lady out before she has a senior moment." But Jake moved closer, studying Vera's tremor. Nerve damage. From prolonged exposure to recoil. Combattement. I've seen it in guys who spent too long on the .50 cal in Afghanistan. Derek flushed red. "Next you'll be telling me she's some kind of war hero. Look at her." The crowd was splitting now. Some still laughed, but others noticed details. The military bearing, the calm in her gray eyes. Vera moved toward the display case, cataloging the room as she walked. "Third row, second from the left. That's the one." Derek laughed harshly. "Oh, you want a $50,000 rifle? Sure. Let me get that for someone who can't even sign their name without shaking." Robert stared at the exact rifle Vera had identified, their most expensive piece. The fact that she'd picked it out among dozens was unsettling. 3 more customers entered, drawn to the spectacle. "Why do old people always waste everyone's time?" one whispered. "You know what? Let's have some fun." Derek pulled out his keys, jangling them. "Unless you've got your social security check with you." Vera reached into her jacket and pulled out something small and metallic, a challenge coin, worn smooth from years of handling. Robert saw the unit insignia and the blood drain from his face. A unit that had been officially disbanded, its record sealed. "Just open the case," Vera said quietly. "Please." Derek reluctantly opened it, still mocking. Vera rolled up her sleeve, revealing specialized medical equipment. A carbon fiber wrist brace with micro-servo stabilizers. Along her forearm ran surgical scars from multiple operations to repair catastrophic nerve damage. "Arthritis acting up?" Derek sneered, not recognizing the sophisticated equipment. The rifle lay on the counter. Vera reached for it, and something extraordinary happened. The trembling changed. It didn't stop, but shifted, accommodating the weapon's weight with precision that spoke of decades of muscle memory. She lifted the 30-pound weapon with one hand. Firing pin spring tension is off by 0.3 millimeters. Would cause misfire in cold weather, around -15 Celsius. Robert pulled out his inspection tools and went pale. She was right, down to the exact measurement. "I'm calling the cops," Derek said, pulling out his phone. "Attempted theft." Vera set the rifle down gently. "Please do. Ask for Captain Morrison. Tell him Vera Mitchell says hello." Jake stepped back as if slapped. "Morrison? Captain James Morrison from the 212. As Derek called 911, Robert quietly made another call. In the back office, facial recognition software began cross-referencing Vera's biometric data with classified personnel files. An older customer who'd been browsing ammunition suddenly straightened. When he'd seen how Vera handled the rifle, recognition dawned. "QSI 7. You're QSI 7. The shop fell silent. Quantico sniper instructors, the ones who train the trainers, the ghosts who don't exist. Derek laughed nervously. "Right. And I'm Navy SEAL Team 6. Rapid footsteps echoed from the stairwell. Marcus Bradford, CEO of Elite Arms, burst through the door. At 6 feet 4 inches and built like a linebacker, he took in the scene, and something shifted in his expression. But Robert was already retrieving an old leather-bound book, the shop's history log from 1995. He flipped through pages until he found a photograph. A group of instructors at a military ceremony. There in the center, a younger woman with the same gray eyes. The caption read, "Chief Instructor V. Mitchell receiving commendation for training excellence, 1998. "That's impossible," Derek whispered. "Shut up, Derek," Robert commanded. "Just shut up." Vera stood quietly through it all. She'd been through this before. The disbelief, the mockery, the slow recognition. "One shot," she said quietly. "Give me one shot at 500 meters, and then I'll leave." Derek scoffed. Olympic shooters struggle at that distance. "Clear the range," Robert ordered. "Everyone out except essential personnel." The crowd moved toward the range entrance. Someone had set up the store's challenge coin target, a silver dollar-sized piece suspended on fishing line. In 3 years, no one had hit it. Vera walked to the firing line and knelt. She pulled worn shooting gloves from her bag, molded to her hands from years of use. Her breathing slowed, became measured. The tremor followed a pattern. The first shot rang out. The coin rang like a bell, perfect hit, dead center. She adjusted and fired again. The coin split along the edge. "Third shot," Vera announced. To prove it wasn't luck, she closed her eyes before firing. The remaining piece disintegrated. The silence was deafening. "In 15 years of competition shooting, I've never seen anything like that," Jake said. "Not with perfect hands. Sure as hell not with combat tremor." "Instructor Mitchell," he said. Then Marcus Bradford dropped to one knee. "Mom, Cadet Bradford, class November 98. You saved my life in Kabul." The room erupted. Derek's face went white. Vera looked down at Marcus. "Stand up, Marcus." "You know I never liked the formality." Marcus didn't stand. Instead, he looked around the room. "This woman is Vera Mitchell, the Phantom Mother, chief instructor at Quantico Sniper School for 25 years. She trained me. She trained my instructors. She trained the people who trained SEAL Team 6. He paused, the tremor in her hands. Nerve damage from pulling 6 wounded Marines out of a burning Humvee in Iraq, 2003. She stayed under fire for 45 minutes with a damaged rifle and a separated shoulder. Saved every one of them. The silence was absolute. The woman in designer clothes had tears running down her face. The young men looked like they wanted to sink into the floor. Marcus finally stood. "Derek, you're fired. Effective immediately. But Mr. Bradford, you had 20 chances to show basic human decency and failed every one." Vera raised a hand. "Marcus, wait. The boy made a mistake." "No, ma'am. Respectfully, no. Disrespect has consequences." One of the young men stepped forward hesitantly. "Mom, I'm sorry." My dad served. I should have known better. What's your name, son? Tyler Rodriguez, Mom. Well, Tyler, you've learned something today. That's what matters. She addressed the room. Sometimes the most dangerous person is the one who looks least threatening. Marcus continued. Ma'am holds the record for successful training completions. Over 3,000 snipers. She wrote the manual that's still used today. How do you shoot with nerve damage? Someone asked. You adapt, Vera said. You learn your body's new rhythm. You make the tremor part of your technique instead of fighting it. The woman in the Gucci blazer moved closer. I'm so sorry. I said terrible things. Then don't apologize, Vera said simply. Just do better next time. Within minutes, the hashtag #PhantomMother was trending. Veterans across the country shared their stories of the legendary instructor. Tyler raised his phone. Ma'am, would it be okay if I got a picture? My dad would never believe this. He used to tell stories about the ghost instructors at Quantico. Of course, Vera smiled. But first, let me tell you something about your father. As the afternoon wore on, Elite Arms transformed. Derek sat in his car in the parking lot, watching his phone explode with notifications. The videos were everywhere, his cruelty preserved in digital amber. Job offers were being rescinded. His girlfriend asked if the horrible guy in the viral video was really him. Inside, Vera was demonstrating techniques to a group of humbled shooters. A middle-aged woman tearfully admitted she'd been Vera's student in 2003. You told me I wasn't cut out for field work. I was so angry, but you were right. You saved my life by keeping me stateside. Catherine Chun, I remember you, Vera said. Your talent was in teaching, not combat. The thing about tremors, Vera explained to a young competitive shooter, is that they follow patterns. Watch. She held out her hand. Every 4.7 seconds, there's a pause. That's when you squeeze the trigger. Outside, 3 black SUVs pulled into the parking lot. Military personnel emerged, led by a woman in her 60s, a full colonel. She entered and walked straight to Vera. Instructor Mitchell. Vera, we need to talk. Hello, Patricia. It's been a while. 12 years since you disappeared after the review board cleared you. I didn't disappear. I retired. Colonel Patricia Hawkins pulled out a sealed envelope. This has been waiting for you for over a decade. Your final commendation. I don't need medals for doing my job. It's not about what you need. Patricia showed Vera her phone. Prague. They're asking for you specifically. Vera's expression didn't change, but the tremor intensified. Prague was 25 years ago. Apparently, it's not as finished as we thought. They found something. Documents. The Koslov incident, someone whispered. Why Patricia glanced at them. Perhaps we should discuss this privately. No, Vera said. I've had enough of secrets. She looked around the room. Prague, 1999. A joint operation that went wrong. 6 operatives went in. I was the only one who came out. Patricia's team shifted uncomfortably. The Koslov incident was a failure of intelligence, Vera continued. We were sent to eliminate a terrorist cell. Turned out to be a trap. 5 good people died because someone wanted to play politics. The documents they found suggest one of the 5 might have survived, Patricia said carefully. That's why they need you. Thompson's body was never recovered. Exactly. Photos, recent ones. Someone who looks very much like Sergeant David Thompson. When do they need an answer? 48 hours. Vera's hands clenched. Either way, I owe it to the others to find out. Patricia's phone buzzed. There's more. The facial recognition from this store's security system triggered something. About someone else here. She looked at Tyler. 3 months ago, there was a security breach at a military records facility. Someone accessed files related to the QSI program. Tyler went white. I can explain. My dad trained under you in '97. Roberto Rodriguez. He died last year. I want to know more about his service. Patricia, stand down. Vera stepped between them. He's a kid looking for his father's story. Your father was a good man, Vera told Tyler. Excellent marksman, better spotter. He saved 3 lives in Bosnia using techniques I taught him. Tyler sobbed. He never talked about his service. He was a hero, and his son inherited his determination, if not his judgment. She looked at Patricia. Let it go. Patricia nodded slowly. As her team prepared to leave, Marcus found his voice. Vera, whatever you decide about Prague, you have support here. Trying to recruit me, Marcus? Always. He smiled, then grew serious. You saved my life in Kabul. I never got to properly thank you. Oh, you just did. Sometimes the best thanks is living well. Derek chose that moment to return, bursting through the door. This is all fake. It's a setup, actors. Security moved to intercept, but Vera raised a hand. Let him speak. I'm not losing my job over some elaborate prank. Derek lunged toward Vera. She sidestepped smoothly, using his momentum against him. He crashed into a display case. As he scrambled up, something fell from Vera's bag, a photograph. Derek grabbed it, ready to expose whatever prop he'd found. But the image showed a younger Vera in military dress with 5 other operatives. In the background, a sign in Czech. Prague, December 99, Vera said quietly. 3 hours before the mission. Thompson took that photo. Derek's hands shook. This wasn't a prop. This is all real. Reality is often harder to believe than fiction, Vera said, taking the photo back gently. Derek sank to his knees. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Get up, Vera said, not unkindly. Men don't kneel unless they're proposing or praying. She helped him to his feet. You're young. Young people make mistakes. The question is what you do next. I don't know what to do. You have 2 choices. Let this destroy you or let it reshape you. She paused. There's a veteran center downtown that needs volunteers. Patricia cleared her throat. Vera, we need to go. Marcus walked Vera to the door where Patricia waited with a government sedan. You don't have to do this. If Thompson is alive, I need to know why. The families deserve that much. And if it's a trap, then they're about to learn why I was the one who survived Prague. Patricia opened the sedan door. The briefing is in 6 hours. Vera nodded, then looked back at the store. Marcus, that policy change about respecting all customers. Make sure it sticks. Not everyone has a story like mine, but everyone has a story. The sedan pulled away. Inside, Robert was working on a new display featuring Vera's story, a permanent reminder of the danger of assumptions. Derek stood alone in the parking lot, watching the sedan disappear. For the first time, he wasn't thinking about himself. He was thinking about a woman who could have destroyed him but chose to offer a path forward instead. He pulled up the address for the Veteran Center. Tomorrow he'd start becoming someone better. As the sun set, Vera Mitchell sat in the sedan, heading toward a briefing about ghosts from her past. The tremor in her hands was constant, familiar. She'd learned to work with it, not against it. Her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Prague remembers. Do you? She deleted the message, but her jaw tightened. Someone knew she was coming. Someone who had been waiting 25 years. Everything all right? Patricia asked. Just ghosts, Vera replied. They never rest easy. No, they don't. As the sedan merged into traffic, Vera closed her eyes and let her mind drift back to Prague. Thompson's face came to her, young and earnest, promising they'd all make it home for Christmas. She could still hear his laugh. Rodriguez making terrible coffee. Shun checking equipment. Petrov humming country songs. Morgan writing letters to his daughter. 25 years, and she could still smell the cordite, still feel the heat from the explosion. The survivor's guilt was an old companion now, but never fully eroded. Each successful sniper she'd trained was a small redemption, a payment on a debt that could never be cleared. But Prague had been different. Prague had been betrayal, lives spent for political games. Her phone buzzed again. She didn't look. Whoever was waiting had waited 25 years. They could wait another few hours. The sedan stopped at a red light. Vera watched a young couple crossing the street, laughing, hands intertwined. She wondered if they knew how fragile their happiness was. She hoped they never had to learn. You're thinking about them, Patricia said softly. Always. Every day, every shot, every time my hands shake. The light turned green, and they moved forward into the gathering dusk. Behind them, the ripples continued. Social media carried the story across continents. Hashtag Phantom Mother became a rallying cry for those who'd been underestimated. In Houston, Catherine Chin typed out her story. In Phoenix, A veteran practiced grip modifications Vera had taught him. Tyler Rodriguez wasn't the only one searching for stories of parents who'd serve in silence. Marcus stood in his empty store, looking at where Vera had made the impossible shots. He was thinking about second chances, about the gray sheet extended to Derek. It was a lesson worth more than all the marksmanship in the world. The sedan turned onto a highway, heading toward classified briefings in rooms without windows. Vera's hands continued their rhythm. She thought about students she'd never meet, ones who would learn from instructors she'd trained, carrying forward techniques refined in blood. The tremor would be part of that legacy too, proof that adaptation was possible. That strength wasn't about steady hands, but steady resolve. Some soldiers never leave the battlefield, she murmured. They just learn to carry it with them. The tremor continued its rhythm, steady as a heartbeat, as the sedan disappeared into the gathering dusk. Behind them, Elite Arms stood transformed. No longer just a gun store, but a place where assumptions had died and truth had won.